Okay, so I'm going to start from beginning to end how to track this style of shot. For example, this is a side pan. I'm going to open up with a video viewer first. Let's take a look at the video footage. Right, so I'm standing at the elevated area and I'm just holding my video stabilizer on a monopod. So that means the camera is still actually moving sideways a little bit and tilting a little bit, but it's not moving drastically too much. Okay, so in this footage, right, every time before you start track, you want to study the footage first. You want to decide like what areas are good for tracking and which areas are not. So there's a lot of high contrast points here. Okay, so you make this shot very easy to track. Okay, so let's convert this into a image sequence first. So bring it into Blender. You can open up a video editing layout, then navigate to the folder containing the video. So side pan. So drop this image into the timeline. Okay, and let's check the frame rate. The frame rate is recorded at 25 frames per second. So Blender, you will usually recognize the frame rate of this. And this footage is quite long. It's 392 frames. You'll notice that, okay, this is a camera trick. Not say camera trick, but camera shooting techniques. When you are shooting like panning or whatever, you do not press your record and then start pan immediately. No, you always hold for a few seconds first, and then you start to pan. Okay, so you want to have some like starting footage and then ending footage. You do not want to like press record and then start to pan immediately. Now for this shot, right, if you don't want to track so many frames, right, then I'll suggest you trim the shot. So I'm going to show you how to trim the shot, right, in Blender. Now if you want the whole clip, right, to fit within this timeline, the shortcut key is the home key. Pressing the home key, okay, you will try to zoom out until the entire clip is filled up. Now, if you still don't see the entire clip, you can roll your mouse back, and then you can see the entire clip right within the frame range. All right. So, how do you trim the clip? Okay, you can slide. Okay, you can slide the clip forward and backwards. Right now, on the timeline itself, this blue line here is showing you what you are seeing on your clip here. All right. So the bottom here is your audio. I don't need the audio. I can select the bottom and delete away. Now to trim it, you can click on the tail end, right? You can click on the tail end until you see this bar is highlighted, right? Then you can click and drag to trim. Okay, and then click on the center to, actually with this selected, right, you can still trim and extend. So click away, right, so that now you can grab the whole clip and then you can slide it to the forward first frame. All right, so I'm showing some basic video editing techniques here. So I'm going to basically start from the point, right, the camera starts to pan, and then when the camera stops panning, it stops pan around here. Okay, then I want to click this end here, select this bar here, and then drag it until it ends here. So I end up with a much shorter clip, now 292 frames. So I need to have the entire timeline fit 292. So I will go over to the timeline and adjust 292. Oh, actually, it ends at 293. So my end frame here, check over here the end frame, change it to 292. All right. So why am I telling you this? Because sometimes you don't need to track everything. You, like for example, my 3D camera motion, there will be like 1 or 2 seconds hit. Okay, that 1 or 2 seconds hit in front is too long. You can just trim it off. All right, you don't need to track those. And in the visual effects industry, right, the practice is we leave about maybe 2 seconds in front and 2 seconds at the tail. That will give the editor, right, some space to edit the shot, like if they want to trim it or not. Okay, this is industry practice. All right. Okay, so now we got this clip nicely trimmed already. We can export it out as a image sequence. Now in the older version of Blender, right, we always had to change the color setting, but now the default color setting, it seems they have changed it to standard already. Okay, we no longer have to change from filmic to standard, but if you're using 2.92, you still have to do that. All right, so make sure you're aware of this. Okay, so now I can export this into an image sequence. So under the output here, go and output it into an image sequence. Okay, I'm going to create a new folder. For this HDB Nodal IMG SEQ. Then go inside here. Okay, so here's the name that is very important. We call it Nodal 01 underscore. Okay, please always put an underscore after next to it. If your name ends with a number and you don't put an underscore, the number is going to continue after this. Then you end up with not Nodal frame 1, you'll be end up with Nodal frame 10,000 or 1,000. Your frame 1 will become 1001, 1002. So this will mess up your image sequence when you are exporting it to Maya. Please take note of that. Alright, so this name is okay. I click accept, and then I will go and print it out or render the animation out as a image sequence. I'm going to use the default settings. So render animation. So we already set the starting frame and the last frame, which is about, I think it's 280 something. So now it's converting the video into a image sequence. So again, depending on your computer, so this is going to take, depending on the computer and also depending on the length of the shot, this is going to take some time. Okay, you can see a pigeon flapping here. Do you think this pigeon is a good subject to track? Okay, good. It's not a good subject, Can anybody tell me why the pigeon, just now you see the pigeon flapping there? Why the pigeon is not a good subject for tracking? It's moving. It's not stationary. Very good. Yeah, these are key information. When you're tracking, you do not want to track things that are moving. And I think I shot this, it was an overcast day, so it was very cloudy, so there wasn't any strong sunlight. And also when I shot this, I didn't bring my 360 camera out. So if you want to like match a 3D element, right, you have to look at the lighting conditions. You can see that the shadow being cast is super soft. That means the environment is just like covered by clouds. So the skies are like whitish gray. Alright, so you can use a dome light and then just use a grayish, or you can find a HDRI with overcast sky. It doesn't necessarily have to be this place, okay? But of course, you will not get the accurate reflections. That's what I'm trying to say. Alright, so now I got the image sequence exported. Let's track the shot. I don't need this video clip anymore. I can select this clip and delete it away. Then I can pull out my VFX motion tracking. And since we already set to 292 frames, right, we can, when we open up the image sequence, it will fit exactly. Now, I want to show you a quick way to quickly access the image frame. Go and click on Open, and if you look under the recent folders here, you can find a quick access to the image sequence very quickly. Just click on it, then click on the first frame, and then click on Open Clip. In the past, I have to select all the frames, but now no need. It automatically detects the entire sequence. All right. So you can double confirm by clicking on Set Scene Frames again and click on Prefetch. Prefetch will load the image sequence into the entire timeline so that when you scrub back and forth, it will respond very quickly. Now zoom out a little bit so that we can see, and we can start to do our tracking. All right. So tracking, right, there are many methods. Okay, I'll zoom out a little bit so I can see the entire timeline. You can start from the middle and track forwards, backwards, like what I did for you when I show you in the HDB block, right? You don't have to necessarily start from the frame 0 all the time, okay? So, but you, okay, let's start from the traditional way. Most people will start at frame 1 and then start to track. So let's pick something that is quite easy to track, and we're going to use normalize. We're going to use previous frame. Now the fastest motion model, right, is location. Okay, so I think for most of these, right, we don't see many changes. So location will be a good motion model. Okay, and tracking's extra correlation, I'm going to bring it to 0.9. and then I will start to put in my first tracker. Now I'll put one manual tracker on this location first, this black white box here, okay, and you notice the point of interest, right, is smaller than this white box, so I want to make it bigger. So I also want to see the search area, so the search area is not visible, so press the combination Alt S to bring out the search area. Now if you want to see the search area, you can also click on this what do you call that, the clip display. Under clip display, right, you can also turn on the search area here. Okay, so remember there are two boxes, area of interest and the search area. I'm going to make the search area a little bit bigger, and then I'm going to increase the size of this search pattern. Alright, so starting from the first frame, then I will track forwards. Okay, the track forwards button is here. I can click track forward, or the shortcut key is Ctrl T, or you can use the pie menu, press E and then track forward. And we're done. Right, so you can see the track, right, once it reaches the end, it will disappear. Alright. Okay, I want to start from frame 1. It always starts from, okay, frame 1 is a bit odd. Frame 1 looks like it's blank. Let me just check my image sequence first. It looks a little bit strange. Yeah, my frame 1 is blank, so this is not good. Alright, so let's see. I'm going to delete away this frame 1. Okay, I'm going to reload the whole sequence again. I'm going to delete away this sequence and start from frame 2 instead. I don't want to start with a black frame, so I think there was an export error earlier on. I think during my video editing, I did not shift the entire clip back enough. Alright, okay, so I'm going to do prefetch again. Okay, let's start tracking again. Okay, let's track this one. I'm going to manually adjust the area of interest size, make it bigger here. So holding down the control and then left mouse click, and I think this is good. Now you don't have to necessarily track one by one all the time. Okay, so you can, if you're using this location, right, you can use multiple points. So I'm going to track one point here. Okay, holding down the control, left mouse click, maybe I'll track this point here. And you want to track like spread out. You want to spread out the points so that they spread out evenly like this. Then maybe track one point here. Okay, then press A to select all the points. Pressing A will select all the points that is visible. Maybe I want to put one more point right about here. Okay, these are very good high contrast points. Let me just readjust them a bit. Okay, and then this one I need to make it a little bit bigger. And maybe I track the corner instead. You want to track things like sharp points and corners. Right, this one you will know that it is moving accordingly. And then this one, this is a good area here. Yeah, this is a good corner here. Excellent for tracking. Okay, so now I've adjusted all the points. I can select all, and then I can track forwards. Okay, and you can see it's very fast, and all the track points are moving accordingly. Now you have to be very careful, right, when you see points. And you see what happened to this point here. It track very nicely, and then the bird fly across the point, and then we lost the track. Okay, so but that's fine. The thing is, you can continue to track after the fact that this bird has fly across, right? I'm going to show you how to continue tracking this. So select this point here, then go over to the track menu to add another keyframe. Right, so we're going to go to use the cursor key, right, to navigate to the last time the point appears again. Then click to create another keyframe, and then manually move it back into place like that, into its original location. Okay, and then you track forward. You can manually track one by one, and if you want to lock this tracker into the center, you press L. Okay, so it will stay in the center. So we can track forwards. Click on this button, track forward, and then finally the point disappears. You can see that it stays locked down, which is very good. Okay, the bird, right, interferes with it. Okay, and we can still use this point. Alright, so we have these bunch of points now tracked. Now we are going to continue to track. Okay, from here onwards, we start to put in more track points. Okay, when you see points start to disappear, we got one point disappear here, then another point disappear. then just before they disappear, this is a good time to track other points that are starting to appear in this frame. Okay, so this is how you track your nodal shot manually. I'm showing you the manual method. Okay, so I think this one is good. I'm going to track this point here, scale it up. Okay, press S to scale, and then I'm just going to track one point until it disappears. Okay, I'll come back to this point again, and then maybe come to this area here. I'll track this corner. Okay, I'm going to use the shortcut key, Control T and track. So this is going to go, I'm going to do it a bit faster so that I will not bore you. Okay, maybe about here on the track, this point, and then holding down the control, this point. And let's look at other areas. Maybe okay, this point here. Going to look for contrast, high contrast points, and even this window in the distance is good. Okay, and then press A again to select all, and then track forward until it all disappears. You can see now we have a yellow zone. The yellow zone, that means that this area, right, is actually good for tracking, but we are not. Okay, in our dope sheet, right, we still need to track this area. Okay, so let's come over to here and let's lock all these points. Now to lock all these points quickly, right, you just hover your cursor over the lock cursor, left mouse click and drag over them so that they are locked. So we don't want to mess around with these trackers anymore. We will not be retracking them again. So coming right about here, right, there's a lot of points starting to appear around here. So we want to start to track maybe around this region. Okay, so Control left mouse click to put another tracker here. Zoom out is mouse wheel up and down, and then middle mouse click to drag. Okay, at this point, right, you see a bunch of pigeons sitting on the ground floor there. But if the pigeons are not moving, you can actually track them. It's okay. Okay, let's track this pigeon here. Maybe this one here. Okay, it looks like it's sleeping. Alright, I'm going to press A. Okay, A to select all those new track points I've just selected at this point. Then I'm going to track forwards. Okay, so you can see the tracking is very fast because and you see the pigeon, right, he's okay, he's staying put, he's not really jumping out, only his head is coming up and down. Right. So we're going to move on to this point, and now you can see it reached the gray zone. Gray zone means it's perfect for solving. Yellow zone means that it's good for solving. So now let's come over to here, and this time I want to track backwards instead. Okay, I'm gonna now, for the new track points, I'm gonna just lock them. I'm gonna start from backwards, the last frame here, and put in my tracker points, spread them out, 1, 2 here, and then maybe 1 here. Okay, I think I know. Okay, never mind. This one I will mention later. Okay, remember I want to have a good spread of points, and then I'm going to press A to select all, and then I'm going to track backwards this time. Track backwards. Okay, so now you can see this region here is okay. Right, so make sure that your tracker points, right, are not moving all over the place. Okay, I got one tracker point, this point here, there's a problem. Okay, it tracks the bird and then it stopped tracking the bird. I think the bird changes too much. That's why maybe I'll delete this pigeon point. It's not very good. Okay, delete the track and track something much more reliable. And I see a green spike here. That means either the point disappears. Okay, what point is this one? Okay, yeah. If you see a green spike on your line like this, that means, right, this tracker point could be problematic, and I can see the trajectory here is problematic. So it actually jumps up like that. It jumps to another pattern that it thinks it is the same one. So we're going to fix that. We're going to get rid of this, otherwise, right, this is going to cause problems. So this is okay. I'm going to delete. Okay, using this delete, right, clear track path after this frame is this button here. So now the tracker point will just stop there, and then you can see the spike disappears. We see a couple of red spikes on this x-axis. So let's see what's happened for this track point. Okay, it actually jumps back and forth. See that? See the tracker point? It jumps back and forth. So we have to fix that. It also jumps from this corner to the other corner. So we'll come to this frame, and then we'll delete anything that is after this point, and then it should end there. And then we get rid of the spike. We got another spike here. Click on this spike here, and then let's inspect this point. Again, it jumps back. It actually tracks backwards. Okay, so this is no good. So right about here, we start to have problems. See, just before the red spike, then we delete away everything after that. Right, and now we cleared the tracker points. Okay, so far we have some red zones in the beginning and the tail end. So we need to see whether we have enough points to solve. Now, actually, right, for tripod solving, if you are solving for tripod, I think we have more than enough points to solve the motion already. So even if you see these red zones, right, it is fine to solve. Okay, just to let you all know, that's the difference if you are solving for tripod. Okay, so we can actually go to solve right now. Let me just save this scene first. Okay, and then I'll go to solve, and then I'll go to tripod. Always remember to save before you solve. Okay, in case you mess up, because sometimes you solve right, you cannot undo back to the before state. That will sometimes happen. Okay, so when you're ready, then we click, make sure that you enable tripod. Okay, this is very important because we know that this is on a tripod, so we can solve on a tripod. So hit on solve camera motion, and we got an error of 4.57. Okay, we got an error of 4.57, and then we can actually also increase add in the focal length, and then try to solve the camera motion again. And you can see now the error drops down to 1.46. We are very close to number 1 already. Now we can continue to refine this until it is like below 1. But generally speaking, right, if you get a figure like this for a tripod shot, that is actually very, very good already. Alright, this is very good already. You don't necessarily have to get a perfect below 1 error for a tripod shot. As long as it's close to 1, or sometimes it can be almost 2, it is still okay. Just remember this. So that is the difference to let you guys know for tripod shot. And you can see for the tripod shot, right, I don't really need a lot of markers. Okay, now next, right, you can also try to reduce the error by inspecting the solve error for all the tracker points in your dope sheet. If you look on the top here, you can see that some track points like 2 and 2.5, right, these looks very suspicious. So you can click on it, like this is tracker number 1. So where is tracker number 1? We can drag until tracker number 1 appears, and then you can drag forward and backward and try to see what's wrong with it. Okay, notice that as the see the problem there? This tracker number 1, right, towards the end it starts to slide. So that's why the error is so high. Do you understand? Okay, so we're going to go to this tracker number 1, and then we're going to do some fix to it. Okay, we're going to unlock it first so that we can edit it. Unlock the tracker point, and then we're going to delete away the error point because it starts to slide here. If you go to the next frame, you see it slide backwards. So we're going to delete away the track data after this frame, which is this one. So now we're going to lock it back again. Then we go to the next tracker point, which is this one. This is tracker number 5. Okay, let's locate tracker number 5. Where is it? Here. Tracker number 5. So let's lock it in the center. And let's see where it actually starts to give errors. Okay. Can you all see that? It is actually sliding. So it started out from here in the center, but then as it progresses, it starts to slide. You see that? Towards the other end. I'm using my cursor to navigate already. So that's why maybe for this tracker point, I will reduce the weight, right, to maybe 0.5. Okay, because this is such a high error point. Then the next one. Okay, this is tracker number 6. Okay, tracker number 6. I need to go to tracker number 6. Where is it? Okay, sometimes it's very sometimes it's very hard to find out which tracker is which. I'm going to show you a trick. You can go to clip display, and you can turn on info. Alright, so you can know which tracker is which. Alright, so under clip display, you can show the tracker information under info. Alright, so I'm going to select all. Then I can find out which is tracker number 6. Right, so number 6 is which one? Let me see. Okay, number 6 is this one. Alright, so let's see what is the error here. Okay, number 6 is because of the bird flying past it. Okay, let me lock the center first. Okay, number 6, right, I'm going to give it a lower weight as well. So go over to the soft weight, maybe change it to 0.5 as well. Alright, so I only change these high track error points. Now I do the soft again. See, 1.46, I bring it down to 1.26. Now there are still a lot of points right over here. They're probably near number 2, like this one, track number 19. Tracker number 19, which is, let's see, where is it? Okay, tracker number 19 is somewhere else. Here, this one. Okay, so let's take a look at it. So scrub back and forth and then see. I need to lock it in the center. Okay, it's because it's sliding. You can see it's sliding. Alright, so again, this one, the weight, I'm going to bring it down to 0.5. And I think that's pretty much it. So I hit the soft one more time. Okay. So the lowest I can go is 1.21. I think for this shot, for me, it's good enough. Alright, so let's align the shot right now. Let's align the shot. And I'll start from the beginning frame here. And then I will set the origin. Actually, the origin, right, I want the origin to be right about the center here. Okay, I want to set the origin, maybe this one. I'm going to use this tracker as origin. And then I'll set it as the origin. Okay, so now this point is set as the origin, and then that's it. You only need to set the origin because you have to manually rotate the camera view to match the floor. Okay, so let's go to layout. Sorry, I've not done the set scene yet. Okay, I set the origin already, and then I'll set the scale. Set these 2 points, and then set a distance of maybe 3 units. Set the scale. Okay, and then I will set as background for the camera, and then I'll set up tracking scene. Okay, so now if I scrub back and forth, you can see that the camera is now rotating accordingly. Okay, but the orientation of the world is incorrect. So I will go to layout. I'll go to the camera view. Alright, and then changing my rotational options. Remember, this is default to median point. We're going to change it to 3D cursor. Alright, then select the camera. Okay, you can click on the dotted lines here, or you can click on the outliner here. Then press R. Okay, first press R to rotate it until, go and find a frame. Basically, go and find a frame where you can find good perspective. Okay, I deliberately shot this so that you can find good perspective distortion here. Then next, we want to rotate along the Z-axis. You want to rotate along the Z-axis, so you press R, Z, rotate it until you get the X-axis, right? Normally, my practice is I want the X-axis to run across horizontally like this. Alright. Then right now, you can see the back of this, or rather, if you look at the perspective line, right, it is pointing too much downward. So I'm going to rotate along the X-axis. So R followed by X. Then just rotate it until it is flat and line up to the ground. So now we want to get this green line to match the lines right in our back plate here. So press R followed by Z. Okay, rotate it until you get the perspective distortion to match. Okay, so now you can see that my X-axis is a bit off. So press R followed by Y to rotate it until we get the plane right nicely matched. And then we still need to rotate along the X-axis, RX again, until we get this flat plane you see here to match the distortion of this. So now I got my what do you call it? I can use the move tool right of the flat plane. You can see that it is matching the perspective perfectly. Alright. Okay, I want to change my median point to, or rather my axis point, cursor point, right, to median. So I can move this. You can see that it is matching the ground perfectly. Right, so now you got your, okay, I'm going to move this up a little bit, GZ1. Okay, so now I want to export this into Maya. Right, so I can save this file, save as. I want to give it a name so I know that this is solved. Then save as. So now I can go and export this into Maya. File, export, FBX. Remember to make sure that you bake the animation, but okay, I forgot one step. I need to change the constraint into a F-curve for the camera. So select the camera, go to the constraint tab, and then constraint to F-curve. Alright, so that the camera now, it is linked to a F-curve. If you look at the graph editor, alright, so now the camera you can see is rotation. There is no movement, only rotation. Okay, so now I'm going to export FBX. Okay, remember what I posted on WhatsApp? Please, under big animation, right, simplify, change to 0. Your scale, change to 0.1, because apparently this FBX export tend to blow up the size of the entire scene. Alright, I'm going to export it out to my DE. Okay, so now let's run Maya and see what it looks like. Okay, waiting for Maya to boot up. Okay, so let's try setting my project first. Make sure it's set to my DE perspective project. Okay, then go and file, import. I'm going to go to the assets location and then bring in my Nodal Solve FBX and then import it in. And it automatically recognizes it at 25 frames per second. So the first thing I want to check is the camera. So go and open up your outliner, select the camera and check. See, the scale is ridiculous. So, but we got all our keyframe animation, that's good. But we need to break the scale and reset this back to 1 again. Right now the scale is ridiculous. So select the scale. Click on X, Shift, select all the values, right mouse click and then break the connections. Then Shift select all the values and then reset them back to 1. Now look through the camera. Okay, and we don't see anything. Actually, yeah, it's there. You see the panning motion is there. Now we can bring in the image sequence. So file, image plane, import image. Then we're going to bring in the image sequence, which I placed it inside here. So it starts from frame 2 because I deleted away frame 1. So we're going to open up. And you can see that the image sequence, right? Wait, let me just, it's not playing back because we need to specify that this is a image sequence. So go and use image sequence. And then I'm going to scrub forward and see that my 3D objects is not there because the depth needs to be adjusted. Let's go to perspective view. And then let's see. Okay, and where is the camera? You can see that the image plane is rotating together with the camera, but the image plane is in front of our 3D object. You notice that the scale of the export is still too gigantic. So you can go, when you're exporting from Blender, FBX, right? Maybe, right, the scale we can bring it down some more. So instead of 0.1, you can bring it to 0.03. Alright. Okay, in fact, let's do that right now. I'm gonna export another version. Okay, because that scale is just too big and I don't like it. So let's do that again. New scene, don't save, file, import, and then import this in. Yeah, now the scale looks much more logical. Now select the camera again, break the camera's scale in the channel box, break the connections, then go to the XYZ, change to 1. Look through the camera, import in the image plane sequence. Okay, make sure it is specified as a image sequence. Alright, and then the depth. Alright, we're going to push the depth maybe to 1000. Okay, 1000 is too much, maybe 500, 200. Okay, somehow it is not going back as much as I want it to be. Oh, okay, right now it's working. Okay, so it is actually behind already. And my mistake. The scale, by reducing the scale, and now I can see my 3D element is there. Okay, so now you can see once you've done your nodal tracking right, and if your match is good, you can position or create 3D planes to modify your environment. For example, let's say I want to change the block, or you want to attach something to the block, right, of the building. Okay, I can rotate this, I can push this back. Okay, it's cutting into the image plane, but you guys get the idea. For example, right now I can create all these additional blocks, and because this is nodal, right, everything should stay in place. Alright, the camera is not moving, so everything should stay in place. Alright, so I can even put something on top, and because you can also export this data into After Effects, and let's say I want to remove this entire block of flats, right, until I only see this pavilion object, right, it is also entirely possible. Okay, maybe after this video is gone long enough, for the next demo, right, I will show you how I can export this information into After Effects and then mask out this entire area. Okay, so I'm going to stop the video now. So basically, in a sense, this is how you import the information after you nodal track.